Some people suffer loudly, and some people suffer in silence. They smile, they show up, they handle everything on their own. But inside, they are exhausted. They are the ones who never ask for help, not because they don't need it, but because they were taught not to. Today, we're talking about the silent struggle of people who carry everything alone. The strong ones, the reliable ones, the ones everyone depends on. Welcome to Soul Shift Psychology. Why some people never ask for help. Not asking for help is rarely a conscious choice. It's a psychological pattern. For many people, asking for help feels unsafe. It feels like being a burden, losing control, admitting weakness, risking rejection, so instead, they learn to cope alone. Psychology shows us that this pattern often forms early in life. When someone grows up in an environment where help was unavailable, emotions were ignored, needs were dismissed, strength was rewarded, the mind adapts. It learns, I have to handle this myself. Depending on others is dangerous. My needs don't matter. This becomes a survival strategy. And survival strategies don't disappear just because life changes. The invisible weight they carry, people who never ask for help often carry more than others realize. They carry emotional responsibility, unspoken pain, unprocessed stress, chronic pressure. They are the ones who fix problems, quietly support others, endlessly hide their own struggles outwardly. They look capable. Internally, they are overwhelmed. But because they don't complain, because they don't ask, their struggle goes unnoticed. Silence becomes their armor. Beliefs like, if I need help, I'm weak. If I ask, I'll be judged. If I depend on others, I'll lose respect. These beliefs don't come from nowhere. They often come from experiences where vulnerability was punished. Maybe they were told to be strong. They were ignored when they expressed needs. They were shamed for emotions. Over time, the mind learns. Strength equals self-sufficiency. But psychology tells us something important. Self-sufficiency without support eventually turns into isolation. The emotional cost of doing everything alone, not asking for help, has a price. Over time, it leads to emotional burnout, chronic stress, resentment, emotional numbness. People who never ask for help often feel drained but guilty for resting, overwhelmed but unable to say no, lonely. Even when surrounded by people, they don't feel seen because they never show their full truth. And the mind begins to believe, no one is there for me, not because no one cares, but because no one was ever invited in. The strong friend paradox. There is a painful paradox in psychology. The strongest people receive the least support because everyone assumes they've got it handled. They're fine. They don't need help. So no one checks in deeply, and the strong person reinforces this belief by saying, I'm okay, I'll manage, it's nothing, even when it's everything. This creates a cycle. The less you ask, the less you receive. The less you receive, the more you believe you're alone. Emotional self-neglect. One of the hidden struggles of people who never ask for help is emotional self-neglect. They care deeply for others. They show up. They listen. They support. But when it comes to themselves, they minimize their pain. They tell themselves, others have it worse. I shouldn't complain. I'll deal with it later. Psychologically, this is a learned devaluation of self, and over time, it disconnects them from their own needs. Inner peace becomes impossible when your emotions are constantly ignored. Why they fear depending on others. For many, not asking for help is rooted in fear of disappointment. They may have learned that people leave promises, break, support is temporary, so they decide, it's safer to rely on myself. Independence becomes protection, but extreme independence isn't freedom. It's guardedness. True strength includes interdependence. The body remembers what the mind hides. Even when emotions are suppressed, the body remembers. People who never ask for help often experience tension, fatigue, headaches, anxiety, sleep issues. The body carries what the voice never expressed. Psychology shows us that unexpressed emotions don't disappear. They manifest physically. The cost of silence is paid internally. Why they struggle with intimacy. Asking for help requires vulnerability. And vulnerability feels risky to those who learned to survive alone. So in relationships, they may avoid emotional dependence, struggle to open up, downplay their needs, keep emotional distance. They may be loving, but guarded. They fear being seen as too much, so they become too little emotionally. The myth of self-sufficiency. Modern culture often glorifies independence. Do it alone. Don't rely on anyone. Be strong. But psychology teaches us something different. Humans are wired for connection. Needing support is not a flaw. It's biological. No one thrives in isolation. The idea that strength means doing everything alone is not empowerment. It's pressure. Learning to ask for help is a skill. Asking for help isn't natural for everyone. It's a skill that must be learned, especially by those who were never taught. It begins small, not dramatic confessions, not complete emotional exposure, just honesty. I'm not okay today. I could use some support. Can you help me with this? I could use some support. Can you help me with this? Each time you ask, you retrain your nervous system. You teach it. It's safe to receive. The fear of being a burden. One of the deepest fears of people who never ask for help is being a burden. They worry, I don't want to bother anyone. I don't want to add stress. But psychology shows us that healthy relationships involve reciprocity. Allowing others to help creates connection, not burden. Denying others the chance to support you also denies intimacy. Releasing the need to be the strong one. You don't always need to be the strong one. Strength doesn't disappear when you rest. It doesn't vanish when you lean. It doesn't break when you ask. True strength adapts, and sometimes the bravest act is saying, I can't do this alone. Redefining strength. Strength is not emotional silence. Strength is emotional honesty. Strength is knowing when to push and when to pause. Strength is allowing support without shame. Practical steps to break the silent struggle. Start by noticing your patterns. Notice when you minimize your pain. Notice when you say, I'm fine, automatically. Practice sharing small truths. Choose safe people. Set boundaries. You don't need everyone. You need someone. Support doesn't weaken you. It sustains you. Healing the part that had to be strong too soon. Many people who never asked for help had to grow up early. They became responsible too soon. They learned to suppress needs. Healing means giving yourself permission to need, to rest, to receive, to be supported. You're not going backward, you're restoring balance. The freedom of being seen. There is relief in being seen, not admired, not depended on, but understood. When someone knows your struggles and stays, something softens inside. That softness is peace. When help finally comes, and it feels uncomfortable for people who never ask for help, even receiving help can feel unsettling. When someone finally offers support, the nervous system doesn't always relax. Instead, it may feel awkward, exposed, unfamiliar, uncomfortable, not because the help is wrong, but because the mind isn't used to being held. Psychologically, the brain associates independence with safety. So when support arrives, the body asks, is this real? Will this last? What do they want in return? This is why many people push help away even when they desperately need it. They downplay it. They rush to return the favor. They apologize for needing anything at all. Healing means allowing discomfort without retreating. Letting someone support you doesn't erase your strength. It expands it. The first time you receive help without guilt, something powerful happens. The nervous system learns, I don't have to carry everything alone. And that lesson, slowly, gently, changes everything. If you're someone who never asks for help, this message is for you. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are not a burden. You adapted. You survived. You became strong. But strength doesn't mean isolation. You deserve support. You deserve care. You deserve care. You deserve rest. Let someone help you, not because you failed, but because you're human. This is soul shift psychology, where silence is understood and healing begins with honesty. If this video resonated with you, like, share, and subscribe. Because even the strongest minds need support sometimes.